Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Chris Brown, your state senator, and I want to welcome you to today's coronavirus update. I hope everyone is doing well. I'm joining you today because I believe it's important we do everything we can to share with you as much information as possible during this difficult time. There's a lot of information out there. However, I'm focusing on Atlantic County families. If you know anyone who may benefit from the information we'll be talking about today, families with children, families that lost their job and are trying to get to the unemployment and get through the bureaucracy, seniors, veterans, please press share now, and that will give them an opportunity to get this valuable information as well. As you know, I also post information regularly on our Coronavirus Resource Center, which we put together for all of you to be able to find the information at your fingertips in one location. So you can check back often. You go to Chris Brown NJ, and the site is right there. This afternoon, we're very fortunate. We're going to have a conversation with our county executive, Denny Levinson, who will share with you all the services that the county continues to offer even during this difficult time. During our conversation, we'll be posting in the comments section numbers and websites and information. So as you follow along, if you look in that section, you'll see it. After our conversation with our county executive, please stay tuned. We'll give you an update on unemployment benefits, and I know that's something that is torturing people trying to get through. Well, Denny, good afternoon and welcome.
Thank you, Chris, very much. It's a pleasure to be with you and your audience. Fire away, my friend.
Well, we'll start just how are you doing and how is your family?
Well, we're doing well, thank God. We are blessed. It was kind of bittersweet Easter because we were separated. We were just back and forth, but families were separated, and it was the first time that ever occurred. It weighed pretty heavily on my wife, but we're in the same boat as everybody else, Chris.
Yeah, I understand. Believe me. So we could start with how has the virus impacted Atlantic County? Positive tests, number of recoveries, and other statistics.
Well, as of this morning, we had 300, just north of 300 positive cases, 13 deaths, and the bright spot of that is 66 have recovered to date, and it's been quite a ride, Chris.
Yeah. Well, one thing I learned when we were talking earlier is that once there is a confirmed case of COVID-19, the county department, your Department of Public Health, has to take certain steps to trace where that patient may have contracted the virus. How does that process work?
Well, Patty Diamond and our Division of Public Health they've been extraordinary, and it's a yeoman's job. Once a case is confirmed, our county nurses must contact the individual's family, the family members, as well as any contacts they might have had, and then they have to interview everybody and advise them accordingly. We have to decide whether they should self-isolate at home, and we have to monitor their systems, or we advise them to seek immediate medical attention. Now, this can be extremely time-consuming, very, very, very labor-intensive, because we had one recent case where nearly 90 contacts had to be called and interviewed. And this, of course, has to be person-to-person. And several counties in North Jersey, where these outbreaks have been quite significant, have a difficult time keeping up with that contact list, and have discontinued it. We will continue it here as long as we can. But we don't want to forego that process because we do believe that will hold down the number of cases.
So, in other words, not only has the county been on top of it, but it continues to be on top of it. When there is a person who's confirmed with COVID-19, your department and the Department of Health go out and get in touch with all of their contacts. And you said one person even had 90 different people that they had come in contact with.
Yeah, well, that person who came in contact, it's almost like, if somebody has a social disease, public health has to run down everyone they've had in contact with and everyone they had in contact with. I hate to put it in those terms, but it's very analogous to that, Chris.
Well, neither is a phone call I'm sure anyone wants to get. So previously, we were fortunate. We had Dr. Brabson from Atlanticare with us, and he explained that coronavirus is different from other viruses because a person obviously can have it, as we all have learned, and not know they have it or not show symptoms for days and may affect others. So it's important for our families to have access to testing to prevent the spread. And I want to thank you for setting up a testing site that meets Atlantic County's needs. Can you give everyone an update on the testing site?
I sure can, Chris, and I want to thank you for what I believe was a yeoman's effort trying to get the state to get involved here, and I believe when you wanted the governor, your suggestion of having the governor have a state procurement and a centralized area where this equipment would go into, the PPEs, the testing equipment, and everything else that goes along with it, and then distribute them to the counties as needed, would have been a much better way to have done it. And I want to thank you for your efforts. Unfortunately, the governor left each county to their own devices, which has been pretty tough. You're bidding against another county. You're bidding against another. In fact, you might be bidding against the state of New Jersey. Who knows? Trying to find a finite amount of this equipment and an infinite amount of people that want it. So it's rough. It's rough out there. I mean, I personally was talking to somebody in Taiwan. So, but to answer your question, we held our first testing and last Thursday, but that was just for first responders and healthcare workers, the people that we refer to as the front lines.
And if I could interrupt you just for 1 second when you talk about that, because those people on the front line are first responders, or police, or fire, or medical personnel, that was very important to them, and to show them that how much we care and how important it is that they get the testing that they need for their own peace of mind when they go home to their families. So I want to thank you for that as well.
Well, listen, I'm the guy at the top that gets it if things go wrong. But, what public health has done and what our hospitals coming through, I mean, Atlanticare, I can't praise them enough. Short Memorial coming on board. It's just been extraordinary. And people have to remember out there, we mentioned testing. Everybody that came into that test site and those test sites are symptomatic, which means they have exhibited some form of this virus. And they are really and truly putting themselves in harm's way. I can't say enough for them, Chris. And I know, you feel exactly the same way about these, truly angels of mercy.
Yeah.
But they're there, and we're testing twice a week right now.
When will the next test be, and how does somebody go about applying and trying to get tested?
Okay. We held our first test yesterday for the general public, and we'll hold another one tomorrow. All the testing is reserved for people that are symptomatic, which is really tough with this disease because you can be asymptomatic and still have it and carry it and infect others. But you have to be symptomatic, and I want to make this clear to everybody. You must be symptomatic. You must be a county resident, and you have to have a doctor's script.
So I want to say that again so everybody understands. You must be a county resident, you must have symptoms, and you must get a prescription for the test.
And then you call up and get yourself an appointment. Well, I'd love to allay fears for the worried well. In other words, those that feel that they got a headache or a sore throat, or certain symptoms are there, but not all of them, and you get a little worried about it, and you want to be tested for your peace of mind. Right now with our testing, about 39% have tested positive, which is less than 40% that do come in for the testing that are symptomatic. But we will start again tomorrow. Tomorrow's testing will be held behind the Hamilton Mall on Mays Landing from 10 to 1. Now, to point out where this is, you can come in off of Leipzig Avenue, you can go into the mall itself, go all the way around to the back where Forever 21 is, and the old Sears in the back there is where the test. You can't miss it once you get back there.
How do you know where Forever 21 is, Denny?
Beg pardon?
How would you know where Forever 21 is?
I take my wife there all the time.
Okay, your wife fits that.
Youthful.
She fits it. Okay.
It's around the back there, and it's very, very accessible. And remember, you have to have reservations. Tomorrow we have completed the reservations, but we're opening up again on next Tuesday, and we're taking reservations now. Now, if you want to make an appointment, I'm going to say this slowly so people can get this down. You visit the county website at www.aclink.org. Let's say that again, www.aclink.org, and clicking onto the COVID-19 testing link. It's that simple. You'll make a reservation. We do have many openings now for next Tuesday, and we have hopefully we're going to have enough test kits. We did get 600 test kits, and we will be able to get more if we have to. Hopefully we won't. So it is just something that we're doing. And when I was out there yesterday, we did have quite a conversation, Chris.
Yeah.
6 feet away from each other, and I just found out should have been 10 feet away, but we were wearing masks and we were protected. And it's tough, and I know what your feelings were when you looked out at all those people out there, the nurses from Atlantic Care and Sure, and our public health people that were doing just so much. All week were there observing, and all the kinks. The sheriff's department was there, making sure things went smoothly. Michael Dorco, Vince Jones were there from OEM. So, it's a group effort, and everybody deserves so much incredible amount of our praise, our esteem, and it's because, as I said, everyone that's there believes they have that virus, and sticking that swab up somebody's nose, realizing that it may be infected, is their front line, Chris. As you know, when being in combat, what it's like, it's frightful.
It is such a blessing to live in this county and see the outpouring of help and goodwill, and with your coordination, I know Frank Formica, the freeholder chairman, along with everybody in the board of freeholders for Atlantic County, are also involved in trying to make sure that the county continues to function, do well in the hospitals. And there are just so many, we could go on and on. One of the things I want to let people know is the information you just heard from the county executive, we're going to put post along in the comments section as we go along. If you need to make an appointment, the phone number will be there for you, and all the information so that you can get access. And that's really the whole purpose of doing this in the first place. One of the things that people forget, Denny, is all the different services that the county provides. And in one day, 27,000 of our working families, casino employees, suddenly found themselves out of a job, and they're looking for help. But unfortunately, a lot of times they remain unemployed. They need help, and we are so grateful to the county employees who continue to help our families in need. Now, for these families, let's say now they find themselves, they need health care, they need Medicaid, they need food assistance and other emergency assistance. Um, can you tell us a little bit about, are there are three family success centers that I know of in the county, and of course the building had to close. But can families still get help through the county? What do they do?
Well, as you're aware of, Chris, but for your listeners, our county offices are following the guidelines that we have to protect our customers, our clients, and most assuredly our staff. There is no in-person, face-to-face business being conducted at this time, and that's for the obvious reasons. However, the staff is available by phone, by mail, by email, and a lot of information is provided online. The county staff is available to assist. If you want to call up, it's 609-348-3001. Again, that's 348-3001. Now, for those who need emergency financial, food, or Medicaid assistance, they have to first apply online. I'm going to give this again. I want to go slowly so we get this. This is very important. At NewJerseyHelps.org. That's capital NJH and then ELPS.org. That will determine the benefits for which you may be eligible. So you go online with that. Now, the state has relaxed some of the requirements and extended some of the benefits during this time, including, so you can rest fairly easily, I guess, no evictions or foreclosures, as well as asking landlords not to raise rents and pass along any temporary waivers they may receive to their tenants. So everybody's got to pull in the same direction here. We are in a crisis. And Chris, we have in the United States right now 26,000 dead. And that's an unacceptable number, of course. There's over 600,000 confirmed cases. I'm sorry, that's in the USA. Now, worldwide, there's about 130,000 dead. Now, when you stop and think of those numbers, I just want, being a former school teacher, you want to make things a bit relative. In the 1918 flu pandemic, they call it the Spanish flu. They claim it started in Fort Riley, Kansas. Whether it did or not is questionable, but that's where they put the starting point. America alone, with a population about a third of what it is today, had 575,000 dead. Now, compared to 26,000 dead nationwide right now. I'm going to repeat that, 575,000. Now, the pandemic worldwide in 1918 and 1920, there was close to, some estimates are 100 million, low estimates is 50 million. So between 50 and 100 million died of the Spanish influenza in 1918 to 1920. That's an incredible number when you stop and consider. Now, once again, with 50 to 100 million dead in those days, compared to 26,000 dead or 130,000 dead worldwide and 26,000 dead in the U.S., I'd like to believe that the precautions that we have taken during this period of time has saved so many of us from, a tragic end.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more, and that again is a tribute to the American people because they have socially distanced and they've sheltered themselves, and they've done it out of a love, for the most part, of their fellow Americans, like in Atlantic County, for their fellow Atlantic County residents. It goes into the community where it's Atlantic City, Linwood, Summers Point. Everybody knows someone who is a senior or has underlying health conditions and realizes that by following these rules, we are protecting everyone, and particularly those very vulnerable. So it really is a tribute to all the people throughout Atlantic County and throughout our country. And speaking along those lines, obviously we've been going with social distancing and the advice for everyone to stay at home, which may be difficult, for our seniors who may feel isolated. One of the most valuable programs our county, you and our county operate is the Meals on Wheels. You're still continuing to deliver to our seniors, right?
We sure are. And now I want people to consider that, there's somebody that has to drive those trucks when they deliver those Meals on Wheels. And, of course, they're putting themselves in harm's way also by going into these the homes or leaving them outside or even being close or handing it off. A lot of these people are not real mobile. Just an idea of what we're doing here in the county. We're delivering over 600 meals a day.
600.
Now, 600 meals a day to those that are homebound. And then there's another 450 meals a day to our Meadowview residents in our nursing home. That's over 1,000 meals a day. And on top of that, there's another 1,500 meals as well at our county jail. So this is something, and remember, and these lines to make those meals, we have quite a bit of our workforce that are not coming in because they have children at home. Some of them are ill. We tell them, if you're not feeling well, stay home. Please, we're asking you to, which is kind of odd, but we don't want people infecting their fellow workers. Now, in addition, this is something that I want people to realize, during good times, we do this, and in bad times. In addition to delivering the Meals on Wheels, we transport residents for dialysis, which is life-saving. And we're looking at that, 276 residents.
So let me clarify that. So if I understand what you're saying is the county is still providing transportation for seniors and those vulnerable to get to their doctor's appointment, in particular for dialysis or treatment.
Well, in particular, dialysis, there's 275 people that we transport for dialysis. And when they come out of dialysis, they're a lot weaker than when they go in. And of course, they need our assistance. And then we also have, just south of 200 people that we transport for medical appointments and grocery. So these are things that we're doing. So we're doing around, 600 trips right there just to transport people. And
that's per day.
Yeah, well, Chris, who's going to do it if
right.
we don't? And
right.
This is something people have relied on, have continually relied on, and we're going to, fulfill that as much as we can. Now, also, if we had a bus, let's say it held 12 passengers or 8 passengers, we have 12 passenger, 8 passenger, and larger, but now we're running the smaller buses. So where we would ordinarily have 8 people on there, now we have 4 with a driver. So we have 2 buses and 2 drivers where we'd ordinarily have 1 driver and 1 bus, just so we could keep that separation. It's, logistically, it's been a bit of a nightmare, but it's something that we have to do. Nobody seems to be going home on time anymore. They're working as hard as they possibly can. So it's just to let people know what's going on. We're still taking cases in welfare. They're coming in fast. Our senior programs are still intact.
Denny, may I interrupt you? So if somebody needs welfare and the county is still processing to make sure those families are looked out for, how should somebody go about that? What do they do?
What they want to do is they want to call the county offices, and the 343-2201. That's my office number. We'll connect them with people. That's an easy one, 2201. But we don't want anybody here going hungry, anybody in need, anybody that has to the point where, especially in isolation, my wife and I have each other, and my kids, they have each other. But there are so many people, and loneliness is a hard thing. It's it's hard to describe unless you've ever been lonely.
Right.
But especially for the elderly, the best they can do sometimes is get a phone call from the loved one. But that's been a problem, and the psychological toll that this pandemic has taken has been considerable. So, our public works, Chris, is still working. We're still getting potholes. They were out, and holy cow, the crews we sent out after this windstorm that we just had, and rather and continue to do the regular things that they do. The library is still by mail. So these are this has been a tough one.
Well,
and I do want people to remember, if I may just get a commercial in for them, that our long-term care providers, not just in our home, but all of them, our hospital workers, gas station attendants, the people that are in the delis, the Wawas, grocery clerks, pharmacies. These people are all really on the front line, so to speak. They're out there and making sure that we get the necessary goods and services that we're used to. But they're putting themselves and their families in a certain amount of risk too, Chris.
we really are, and we are so blessed to have them go out every day and go right into what everybody else is shielding themselves from so that we can continue. And one of the things that the county does as well is, of course, the Meadowview Nursing Center. And I know that there are a lot of steps that you have to take to make sure that everyone there is protected and as safe as possible. Can you give us an update on the operations of Meadowview?
Well, Meadowview is still working the way we did, except we do not let anyone in from outside, which is horrible. It is. I mean, it's so incredibly sad that these people that are greatly compromised their constitution. They're alone, and for the most part, except for the nurses and the doctors and the caregivers and the other patients that we have there and residents. That's we've been, I don't want to say lucky. We've been blessed. The fact that we do not have any viruses in the nursing home at this present time, and no one has died from the virus. And we would love to be able to keep it that way. So when our workers do come in, we take their temperature and we make sure that they have the proper equipment on, the personal protective equipment and everything else that goes along with it. But working in a nursing home is tough on a good day,
Right.
Let alone in situations like this. And it's sad because the TLC that they would get ordinarily from family members that would come to visit, some on a daily basis, some more than just once a day, can't come in at all. And it's a sad situation all around.
But it's up. Everybody is safe. You've taken all those measures for our families in Meadowview, and to date there has not been not only not an outbreak, but there hasn't even been a reported positive case, if I hear you correctly.
Yeah, and we want family members to keep in touch by phone or
Right.
by mail, by email, or any social media that they have, and they can call the staff at any time to check on the well-being of their loved one, and they're there all the time. So everybody that comes in, we take their temperature. We do everything we can, every precaution we can to keep them safe, because they are the most vulnerable in our society right now.
Yes, and another group of people that's obviously, as they all are, but near and dear as a veteran, as somebody who has I'm working on my third child, but 3 children who are presently in the United States Army. Our veterans are obviously so important to our community, so important to our country, and are all the veteran services that are offered through the county, are they still available?
Well, they are, but they are by phone.
Right.
All the offices, like I said, are open, but the doors are closed. But the staff is still available. And
so if I'm a veteran and I have an issue, whatever it may be, what is the number that I should call?
All right, that number is 609-677-5700. That's 677-5700 for any assistance you may need. There's also a secure drop box at the front door of the Stillwater building it's on the ground floor at 201 South Shore Road in Northfield. Now, where they have made a change, we have been having, for veterans that pass away at our veteran cemetery, we have been having private services. That has been stopped by the state of New Jersey. They do not want the burials are now, it's no longer permitted. We were permitting the private burials, but now it's a graveside burial, and that's the state's decision there. And I'm not going to question. I'm sure they have their reasons.
Right. Well, another issue, so many families enjoy pets, and I know that you are an animal lover. Is the county animal shelter still operating?
It is still operating. It's available by appointment for those that are interested in adopting or reclaiming pets. We're still picking them up, an impounded stray or something like that. The staff is available each day. They're from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, except on Tuesdays. Now, I know we've gotten some criticism on social media that we're not letting people in. Well, we can't let people in, and it's something that we can't do. You can make an appointment, and if you wish to, the number there is, let me see where it is, 609-485-2345. Pets bring a great joy to our lives, and right now, since many of them at home, what a great time to bond with an animal. You have time, you don't have to go off to work, many people, and the kids are home, they can adjust to it much easier. In fact, two of my children have adopted dogs during this period of time, so it's working out quite well.
Well,
go ahead.
I just want to know, as we're getting towards the end, if there's any other topic, anything else you can share for people who just want Atlantic County information or services, anything you would like to share with our listeners.
Well, all the numbers are there and availability, but, to repeat myself, I just want to acknowledge those people that are working above and beyond during this crisis. I mean, my staff under Jerry Del Rosso, I can't praise them enough. I call up anybody calls 6:30, 7 o'clock at night. Who's answering the phone? My administrator, and he's there, and it's a yeoman's task, and it's a lot of it on his shoulders because he's the most knowledgeable person I've ever met as far as government social services are concerned. But let's remember our store clerks, delivery drivers, healthcare workers, first responders, everybody in law enforcement, and in addition to the dedicated county employees that I have mentioned, and to thank the hospital workers that are going in every day and those that are lending themselves to help us at Atlantic Care and Insure. I'm going to get teary-eyed if I continue to talk about them. You wonder. I think it was somebody said it, the D-Day invasion when our soldiers were hitting the beaches and under incredible circumstances. It may have been Ike that said, where do we get men like this? Or where do we get people like this? In a crisis, they seem to get to the top, and they just float to the top, and they're here. And nothing begrudgingly either. It is certainly a labor of love.
Well, I want to thank you for taking time out. All the information that you provided, I believe, is invaluable for families who are starving for phone numbers and websites and how do we move forward. So I just want to thank you for taking time out of your busy day to talk with everyone.
And I want to thank you, Chris. Your service to our community, your service to our country.
You're going to make everybody sick.
It's immeasurable.
Well, I thank you, and but we're just blessed. When you run for office, you run around, you beg people to vote for you. And then when the time comes, you try to do everything you can to live up and honor their trust. And you share that as well, Denny. And so we're both very, very lucky. And thank you again for taking time and being with us. Thank you.
My pleasure, Chris. Anytime.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Well, just want to thank the county executive for being here and giving the information. We put it all in the comments. Now, there's another issue that has been driving people batty, quite frankly. The biggest frustrations that they have are the delays and lack of response from the unemployment office. And as we've mentioned before, overnight there were 27,000 families that were unemployed simply from the casino industry alone. And so they were overwhelmed. However, it's unacceptable not to get back to people. It's unacceptable not to process claims. It's unacceptable to not treat everybody who calls with the dignity and the courtesy that they deserve, especially as people who are in trouble. They need money to survive and they're no longer employed. So a number of you have called my office already. We get right back with you as quick as we can, and we try to make sure that we do everything we can to get you those benefits. One thing to remind you is, even though it is delayed, they know that they are goofed up and they know that they are taking too long. They backdate it to the day of reporting, the day of loss. So you will get all that you are entitled to despite their delay. I personally have been back on the phone over and over again with the New Jersey Labor Commissioner, who assured me you will get all of your benefits from the date of your unemployment, not the date that you finally get through to them, but the date of your unemployment. And thankfully, the Department of Labor announced yesterday they have upgraded their computer technology to adding personnel and boosting their phone capacity. So what this means is, with God's help, unemployment claims will get processed faster, and customers' questions, all of your questions, will get answered more quickly. On a different note, the first batch of supplemental unemployment payments has been processed and distributed, getting an extra $600 into the claimants' pockets just after these holidays. New Jersey is now accepting claims from benefits processed for independent contractors and freelancers to collect their pandemic unemployment assistance payments as soon as possible. Now, in order to apply, and I'm going to put this in the comments, but I'm going to say it to you as well. In order to apply, you must go online at myunemployment.nj.gov or call 856-507-2340. So I want to thank all of you for joining me today. As I've told you all along, you can call my office, 609-677-8266. I will do everything I can to help you. You can also go to our Facebook page. I guess you're there. You can let others know. It's Chris Brown NJ. On the page is a coronavirus update. Every day we update that with the latest information from Atlantic County and the state and everything that I believe impacts you, to give you one spot to find it. So we're going to continue to do the best we can, the best I can, to make sure you get accurate information as quickly as possible. And although things are not easy right now, I would just say that with our strength, we've been through a lot here in Atlantic County, from loss of jobs to the tightening of the gaming industry to Superstorm Sandy, Derecho, and with our belief in God and our faith, we are all going to get through this. Thank you. God bless you. Love you all.